Welcome to Black Man Lab. Glad to have everybody here this week. We're going to have a great conversation with some great guys that we have on. Today, I'm going to have co-hosting with me my brother Joe Barker. Joe, say hi to everybody real quick.
How's everyone doing? Glad to be here. Appreciate you having me, Marty.
And always a pleasure, brother. Always a pleasure. Real quick, we always want to let everybody know what Black Man Lab is about, and give some background on how we got here today and what makes Black Man Lab Black Man Lab. Years ago, brother Powell Davis and about 3 or 4 other brothers got together to have some poignant discussions with their sons, because a lot of times we know as fathers, our sons don't necessarily listen to us, but they will listen to somebody else. So that's where it started. And then we grew and grew and grew to the point that when we were live, we were having up to 250 people together, brothers together, to share experiences and share both professional information as well as personal development information on a weekly basis. At this time, every week at the Andrew and Walter Young YMCA here in Atlanta. Fortunately, we are doing this now virtually, so we're able to bring in some guys that we would normally be able to bring in, and we're excited about that, especially tonight, because I have one of my shooting idols on here with us tonight. So I'm looking forward to having him join the discussion. And then we have a couple of other brothers on here who have been a big part of Black Man Lab as well. So what we're talking about tonight is sports and how activism plays in sports as well. So one of the things that we always do each week is we make sure that we get centered and get connected. And a big part of that is us being able to reach back to our ancestors, bring them into this space of what we call a safe and sacred space. And what we want to do is bring those people into this space each week. We also want to get ourselves centered, both emotionally and physically, for this information that we want to take in. Brother Barker, would you want to bring us into that space?
Absolutely. Appreciate that, Brother Marty. Hey, first of all, welcome to our guests. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to all of y'all who are joining us to watch us online. Let's know that this has been a very challenging week for us all. So more than any time, this past month, these past few weeks, we've lost legends, we've lost loved ones, we've seen things that we don't want to see in a normal society when we ever get to that point. So what we're going to do is we're going to back away from all of that, and we're going to center ourselves. So just center yourself simply by let's take a few breaths in and out. So on the count of 3, take a deep breath in. 1, 2, 3. Now let it out. Let go of some of all that hurt that's been on us. Breathe in some of that positivity. I know that positivity Josh Powell is bringing into the space with us. Let go of all of the things that we may have struggled with so that we can get in here in this constructive space. So again, let's take a deep breath in and let it out. And let's focus on what we're about to accomplish amongst one another, how we can support one another, the space that we're in together. So one more time, let's get this one big breath in and let it out. And let's get started.
All right. Appreciate that, Joe. Appreciate that, man. Also, what we do is we want to make sure that we, in the normal circumstances, we will be pouring out libations to bring our ancestors into the space. Obviously, again, with us being remote, we can't do that like we normally would do. But what we do want to do is still bring our ancestors here, because we know without them, we would not be where we are today. Those are the shoulders that we stand on. And I see my brother Powell Davis is checked in here. Powell, you want to bring in the ancestors and say a word?
Absolutely. It's an honor. It's an honor. It's great to see you all. It's great to see Brother Josh and Brother Chubb, who have come to the physical Black Man Lab before COVID. And then the great legend, Craig Hodges, just, man, great connected with him during All-Star Weekend in February before all of this craziness happened. And just glad to see all of you all. We just want to bring in the ancestors. And the way we do that is we just lift them up. And we just want you to take a moment to think about your personal ancestors, those whose blood flows through your vein, those who may have had to work in a field or may have to work in a factory, may have had to just do the kind of work that we snub our nose at now, but they did what they had to do so that we might stand in the place, in the space that we're now standing. And so we just want you to put your fist up and affirm those blood ancestors just by saying Ashe.
Ashe.
Then we want you to just take a moment to think about our ancestors who have nationally served our people. Those people like a Ella Baker, a Fannie Lou Hamer, a Malcolm X, a Amilcar Cabral, Stokely Carmichael, Kwame Ture, all of those who have given so much, most recently John Lewis and C.T. Vivian and Joseph Lowry, all of those who have given for our overall fight and struggle. And of course, we have to lift up the great John Thompson, Chadwick Boseman, as new ancestors. So we just want to affirm those. We say Ashe.
Ashe.
And so then finally, we just know that the work that we're doing, that the safe and sacred space that we've sought to create here as a part of the Black Man Lab is indeed a work for our future, our children, those that are yet unborn, those that continue to wait for the right moment to spring forward in this universe and to do a work. And so we just want to acknowledge those yet unborn as we describe those beautiful ones yet unborn. We just want to lift them up. Ashe.
Ashe.
And then we just say, we close out by just saying Ashe, Ashe, Ashe-o.
Ashe, Ashe, Ashe-o.
Thank you all, and looking forward to this conversation. I've also been pulled into another conversation right now with Stacey Abrams and Reverend Warnock that, is critical. We're at a critical moment, and Reverend Warnock just addressed the importance of protest and the importance of really, I framed my first question to him about the NBA and about the role that sports and social justice. So a lot of powerful conversations going on in this moment. And I just give thanks. And I just wish my dad, Big Mel Davis, could be here to see this. One of his greatest moments was to be able to connect with Muhammad Ali when he was with the Globetrotters. And he just named my youngest brother Muhammad, and named me after Muhammad Ali, and named me Malcolm after Malcolm X. So there have been a long, long line of athletes who have been a part of this social justice movement. So with that, I think Tony Brown is jumping on, one of our NBA referees. They took a stand with the players as well. I think I see Tony Brown there. So I'll turn it over to you, Brother Marty and Brother Joe. And we just thank you all, brothers, for stepping in and staying the course, and again, inspiring all of us through athletics.
All right. Thanks, Brother Miley. Appreciate you, man. Brothers, without any further ado, what I want to do is just get right into it, because I think that we're going to have a really fruitful conversation tonight. So what I would like is, all of you guys are pretty much known, but I want you to give a quick introduction of yourself and what you may be doing right now as it relates to activism in the community. And then we're going to dive in and ask you guys some good questions to get a really good dialogue going. So, Brother Chubb, I'm going to start with you.
Thank you. So Brandon Chubb, NFL player, going on 5th year, from Atlanta, Georgia. Like Marty, Maui, and Joe said, big advocate for Black Man Lab and everything they've done for the community, but also just kids who were in my seat 10 years ago and look like me. So I want to give a big thanks to that, and honored to come on. I have a foundation called the Chubb Foundation. Me and my brother, it's a nonprofit. We've been running it for the past 4 years going on 5. And what we do is our mission is to activate human potential. And we do that through different initiatives in our community through 3 pillars: education, mentorship, health, and wellness. And so we run a lot of initiatives around those 3 pillars. And one thing that I think is important is being able to mold and shape our future, right? These people who are in our neighborhood and our communities who are looking up to guys like me and other people with platforms are going to be the people running this country and running this next wave of our community. So being able to mold those people and give them the best resources, shape them in the best way, and kind of just lead them in the best direction. You know, everybody's choice is up to themselves, but if we could give them the tools and the resources and at least give them the right guidance, we think we can make a difference and slowly but surely just, you know, reshape and continue to empower our community. So thank you for having me.
Appreciate you, Brother Chubb. Josh, Brother Josh, if you could jump on.
Yes, sir. I appreciate always good to see everyone. Thank you for the opportunity again to be a part of a wonderful and amazing thing. I am a retired athlete, a father, and just a man of God, just here to serve. You know, that's my purpose. So just look forward to getting to the conversation.
Thanks again, Brother Powell. Appreciate you. My buddy Anthony. What's up, Ant Brown, NBA ref? What's up there, Ant? How you doing, man? You're on mute, Ant.
I can do that. Hey, how you doing, man? Hey.
Man, good to see you.
I'm glad I could actually be a part of the call finally. I've been trying to connect with you guys. I'm actually coming to you live from the bubble down here in Orlando. And, you know, man, it's been, you know, this is my 18th year in the NBA as a referee. Played ball in college and, you know, didn't get an opportunity to be fortunate enough to make it to the NBA, but being able to listen and be guided by right people, I was still able to fulfill my dream, and that was be a part of the NBA. One of the things that I've done with, I was able to help initiate to get the referees to do is game days. When we go into cities, we go into some of the underprivileged schools and we go and read to the 5th graders. And the reading is mainly an opportunity to open them up to endless possibilities, to know that the only way you can do better and change society is by educating yourself. And, you know, through reading, you just open up endless possibilities. And, you know, for me, my plight is to help see more people that look like me doing this job, you know, doing what I do, because, you know, we all, you know, when we get involved in athletics in early age, the goal is to make it to the top. Well, there's other ways to make it to the top without necessarily, you know, playing in the NBA as Josh did, or, you know, playing in the NFL as Brother Chubb did. There's other opportunities, and we got to find a way to think outside of the box. And that's what has got me to where I am. But I'm really honored to be here with you guys and listen to everyone. And whatever questions, please feel free to ask me whatever. And I look forward to engaging with you all.
Absolutely, brother. Thanks again, Tone. Finally got you on, man. It's been a while, man.
Absolutely.
We finally got you. In 18 years, man. Dude, I remember when you started. That's crazy.
Yeah, starting 19
crazy.
Next year, man.
Yep.
Crazy.
All right, man. We're glad to have you on. One of my shooting idols of all time is I'm a Chicago guy. So grew up in Chicago, and I didn't have much talent to do anything other than do shooting. That was it. So and be as far away from people as possible. So one of my idols was to be a shooter like Craig Hodges. So I am really honored to have you on, Craig. So if you could give a quick intro of yourself and what you're doing these days. You're on mute. You're on mute, Brother Craig. There you go.
We good now?
Yep, we hear you.
First of all, just thank God, man, for giving us an opportunity to meet his brothers and bring about solutions. And over the last year or so, been promoting my book and now turning my book into a documentary and movie, as well as just training young brothers and sisters on how to play the game properly. And likewise, like Tony just said, is mentoring young brothers and sisters in other facets of the game, whether it be coaching, teaching, training, timekeepers, scorekeepers, referees. So we're working on those type of programs here in Chicago.
Awesome, man. Well, honored to have you on and honored to have you as part of Black Man Lab. Brother Joe, you want to start off with the first question for the group?
Sure, man. I'll start it off. Now, this is, I'm not going to give y'all no softballs, man, because this group here is a very powerful group, man. And the young brothers and the families that are watching and tuning in, man, they're hanging on your words. You guys are larger than life in a whole lot of ways, man. First question I want to ask, jumping right into it, is, and I want to start with Chubb, but I want everybody to answer this. This is very important. Chubb, I want to start with you because you played football at Hill Grove High School. I preface this question in this way. My son, I had 3 sons that played at Hill Grove High School after you. After you moved on, you were actually, I think, your first year in the NFL by the time they were in high school playing ball. But they knew you. They knew of your name. They knew of your character. We knew of the integrity as a person you have on the field. Like, we knew the stand you took then, even before you started your foundation. So my question is, how important is it to have created a legacy of integrity, of character, of social justice as a player from the beginning in order to provide credibility and a platform for what you're doing now?
That's a great question, and appreciate your sons for thinking of me like that. But I think it's entirely important to create a legacy in what you do throughout your life. So when you get to a point that you have a platform to create change and create different momentums in the community, that it gives you credibility and makes everything easier, right? So like you said, your sons knew what I was about, and kind of without ever meeting me or ever playing on the same team as me, just because they followed in my legacy. But at the same time, that makes my words stick even more, right? It's kind of like I practice what I preach, and it's not something that is for the cameras. It's not something that's for the Instagram or for the articles. And that means a lot to these kids, right? Because I lead by example, and then they go out and they do good deeds, and then people follow their lead as well. So it's a trickle down effect that can make just how the corona is tracing. You talk to one person with corona and it spreads like that. The same is with the credibility, right? Is I do a good deed and that follows, and somebody copies that example, and then it just spreads and becomes one big movement. So it means a lot. And, that's an important thing that, my parents harped on, is just, your integrity and what you do carry you for the rest of your life, and your name. So being able to, utilize that and kind of bring that momentum into a platform, I think is vital.
Thank you, Brandon. I know we got some people signing in and out. We're going to get some traffic. Tony, man, I want to hear your thoughts on that, man. Like, how did you create that legacy so that, people could rock with you when you got to a certain point, because you stood for something and they knew that?
Yeah. First off, I think it really starts with you caring more about other people than you do yourself. And for that to happen, building a legacy is something that's ongoing. In order to reach more people, it only starts with one. And, like Chubb said, you have to allow yourself to not be selfish and want more than what you have to offer, because a lot of people, we'll get so consumed with the grind of what we're doing that sometimes we forget that, people are still looking at how you respond and how you handle situations. Because one thing for sure, it's, when the lights are on, everyone has a persona, or everyone is okay when things are going good, but how are you when things are going bad? And, how do you influence people where things are going bad every day? And that was the one thing about reaching out to some of the lesser privileged people and these kids. When you go into those schools, it breaks your heart, because you see them in a place that you could have easily been if not for having some guidance from your parents and having them teach you right, wrong. And it allowed me to want to use my voice and say, you know what? On the surface, I'm nothing more than a referee. But to the people who don't have or experience what I have, it's iconic, because they want to know, what can I do? How can I get that opportunity? And basically, it starts with someone I'm no role model, but I want to be a guider, and I want to be, hope and light for somebody to say, hey man, what can I do? I'm always open to share, to try to help. So I think it's just you caring more about people than you do yourself.
Amen, brother. Amen. Amen. I appreciate that. Brother Hodges, I wanted to get your thoughts on that. I mean, you created such an amazing legacy. Like, how do you look back at the steps that you took to create this platform and have such credibility? What was most important to you creating that legacy? Did he freeze up? Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Brother Hodges, you there?
I think he froze up.
Okay. We're going to come back. I know he's been having a little technical difficulties, but Josh, let's move on and just let you chime in right quick, man. I've seen a lot of what you've been doing. I met you when you started being in some of that space here in Atlanta. Granted, you've probably done a lot of it before, but what was that like before for you? How did you create a consistent platform of looking out for others and creating that, legacy?
You're on mute, Brother Powell.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The phone reconnected while you were asking that. I apologize. Can you say that one more time?
So just what was the path that you took that helped you create such a good legacy of credibility and integrity, from the high school level on? Like, what was most important to you? Looking out for others, making sure that, you were a person of integrity. What were those steps so that you can look back and people be like, I knew Josh back when, and he's always been this person?
For me, I would say my experiences. And mine started early on, like when I was around like 7 or 8. My mom had to give me over to my grandparents for a while she got situated. And just I experienced up in the country around where they're from, and some of the life lessons that I received from them, both of my grandparents, God rest their souls, but just a lot of the things that they embedded in me, and just the way that I saw them love people, no matter how good or bad they were treated, the way that I saw them show up for people on a consistent basis. And
Brother Powell, your phone was
say, and I'd ask her, like, Grandma, like, why are they talking?
Brother Powell's having some.
We're going. Josh, you're in and out a little bit, man, but we heard the good majority of it, brother. Did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I was just finishing up by just saying that, the things that my grandmother, some of the things they both would say, but my grandmother would just always say how God loves people and just being here to serve, and no matter what, being the best version of themselves, you know what I mean, and standing up for the things that you believe in, and those are the things I carry with me.
Appreciate that, brother.
Appreciate that, bro. Brother Craig, are you there? I think he's still having technical difficulties. All right, we'll come back to him when he comes back in. Brother, so one of the things that we need to discuss today is what's going on today. Tone, you've been experienced, obviously you're in the bubble and with all the unrest that's been going on.
Can you hear me?
There's Brother Craig.
Oh, there's Brother Craig. Craig, can you hear us? We lost him again. Well, but with all the unrest,
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Okay. We'll come to you in 1 second. But with all the unrest that's been going on, what have you seen as relates to the NBA, and what do you think is the effect of that? How can professional sports be effective in dealing with a lot of the different challenges that are going on in our country right now as it relates to being just?
Yeah. Hey, Mari, thanks, man. Going through this ordeal has gave me, for one thing, a greater respect for some of the people that I work with and I see on a regular basis, and mainly for having the courage to stand up and sacrifice their comfort to make a statement and make a stand about social injustice. Because one thing it did for me is that it just reminded me that, you know, we all have a platform, you know, and that's from all walks of life. We all have a platform. And I don't care where you come from, everyone deserves, you know, an equal opportunity to be who they want to be and treat it without prejudice. And I think for some people who it doesn't really affect, for them to take a stance, because one thing I know for sure, it doesn't affect you until it affects you. And once it does, then you realize that you're nothing more than a black man.
Right.
So with everything that we've been fortunate enough to acquire in our lifetime, you know, for people to step back and say, hey, wait a minute, this could be me. Why would I not stand up for someone who doesn't have a voice, or someone who doesn't know how to use their voice in the right way?
Sure.
So, you know, being able to witness that gave me a greater respect for the young men that are here working, and the quote unquote superstars, you know, in their respective fields. But it just gave me a greater respect to know that, you know what, we can all be doing more, you know, regardless of where you are in life, what you're doing, you know, whether or not you're sanitation worker, you can still be an influence on someone's life. But you got to be able to, for one, know your history and know what you're standing up for, you know. So yeah, so that's what I've experienced from being down here.
That's awesome and good. In that, you know, it's taken this kind of unrest, and when I say unrest, let me be clear, I'm talking about the injustice that's happening to our people, right? Because our responses of what our people are doing in terms of protest and, as they would say, rioting, is solely a result of the amount of injustice we have had to endure for umpteen years, right? This has been something that's been going on far too long. What's happened right now is that we are fortunate that in this modern age that people have these, right? And they're able to catch what's going on. So it changes the paradigm of it being conjecture and being actually, oh, that actually happened. You know, we're seeing these things happen. So it's driving people to change, right? Driving people to enact themselves. And NBA has done a pretty good job of raising their hand and say, hey, that's not right. And we'll get into that conversation even further. Brother Chubb, now you have a different, it's really different for you in that you have an NFL background, and the NFL has been, let's just say, a little bit questionable in terms of how they've dealt with justice and injustice, right? There's a lot that started with Brother Kaepernick taking a knee, you know. Next thing we know, we got somebody taking a knee on a brother's neck and killing him. And it's odd that would be, you know, the paradigm that we're looking at. You know, one brother that was just taking a knee for justice, and another brother that died because of a knee injustice. So what would you say as relates to the NFL and what you see and have seen as it relates to activism?
Yeah, I mean, you brought up a great point with Kaepernick. So my rookie year, I was on the Niners, and that was Kaepernick's last year in the league, and that's when he was doing the knee when nobody else was doing it, right? And so you would hear, you know, San Francisco fans behind the sidelines calling him out of his name and, you know, talking, you know, crazy about him and saying certain things. And then you fast forward and when we're here, right? So I think the NFL and the NBA are on two opposite spectrums with how they handled it. And just like how racism is a systemic thing, that goes into the NFL as well, right? So you see, I think it starts with the owners. You see, you know, the ownership is, there's no minority or black man who owns a team. There's one minority owner for the Jaguars, but that trickles down, right? You do background checks on these guys like Jim Irsay with the Colts and all the trouble he's been in and the racism he's been involved in, things like that. And that, goes, they say stuff rolls downhill. So it rolls downhill to the executives in the front office and lower management, then trickles down into the locker room. So being able to start it from the top up, and you have people like Grant Hill, who's a minority owner of the Hawks. So you have Michael Jordan, who's a majority owner of the Charlotte Hornets, and being able to have those people be at the tables, I think it will be a big difference for change for the NFL. And so with that being said, I think this gives us a platform now to be able to speak and have a little bit more leniency on how we protest, right? Because now Roger Goodell and the NFL has to follow the NBA's lead. And so I think we need to take advantage of that opportunity. And even though it's not really a protest, if they're allowing you to do it, I think it's still athletes having a platform need to draw attention to it, and at least make it aware, right? And have guys like the Tom Brady's and the Aaron Rodgers, people that are selling out their jerseys every year and in the top 5 in sales, be able to speak on our behalf as well. I think goes a long way when you have like the LeBrons and the Chris Pauls doing it for the NBA, right? So it'll be interesting, but I think there's progression. And you got to get these guys, these people who are at the top, to put their money where their mouth is and really make a systemic change and not just a performative action, right? Don't paint Black Lives Matter on the 50-yard line. That's not changing anything, right? So,
right,
yeah,
right. Do something rather than just talk. Rather than just talk about it, be about it, right?
Right.
And I think that the NFL probably needs to follow a little bit of the lead of what the NBA is at least trying to do. I'm not sure the NBA has it all 100% right, but at least they seem to be trying. Brother Hodges, are you there? He's
Hey,
frozen.
brother, I'm trying to be here. I've been here. I don't know if
Yeah, you keep going in and out, bro.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. So I want to bring you into the conversation, man. You have a
cool. Yeah, man. What?
I was gonna say you have a history with the NBA. You spoke out about injustices before it was cool, and that probably had some impact on your career. I'm gonna say probably, it definitely had some impact on your career, because you could still shoot that thing, probably at least another 5-10 years after you left the NBA. So tell us about a little bit about your background as it relates to that, and what your thoughts are on where we are with professional sports today and what you see versus back then.
Yeah, first of all, man, just thank Almighty God and ancestors, like you said previously, for even giving us an opportunity to speak to our people as well as everybody else. Right now, I think we're in a very critical position. And even at that point in time, in 1991, when we were in the finals, and I asked Michael and then Michael and Magic to boycott that, at that point in time, we could make a difference. We had 900 murders in the city of Chicago at that period of time. And my main focus was seeing how we could change that condition and stop. My players have taken to a degree. We can see that it has shaken the foundation of America to a certain degree. And I just, I feel like the impact that we have now is more important than any other point in our history, especially because we have the freedom of movement as well as resources. So for me, it's one of those things where we have to take that position, that we have to be more creative in the moves that we make so that they can carry some weight. Likewise, so many of our movements have been usurped into being something else. So now we look at us protesting over solid, valid issues, and then it's being able to be usurped as some type of rioting and having people from outside come in and cause havoc. So one of the things that I'm very concerned about is that as we move out into the street, that we don't have a solid organizational program where, we're going out and people are coming out there with serious weaponry. And so are we putting our women and children at, in harm's way by going out to protest? Where my position right now is that we hunker down as a community, get together as a serious voting bloc, and not have our votes diluted by some, delusional cats who think they know what's good for us, as opposed to us coming together and utilizing the resources of our athletes and entertainers. Situation that is in a position where we can negotiate for our votes, as opposed to just willy-nilly giving somebody our vote because we think they're going to do something for us like they have over the last decade.
Right. It's like right now, what do you think is going to change if we do the same things over and over again, right? So we're in a position, I think, from a professional sports standpoint, that at the very least, we can cripple the system so that we can get a voice heard. What were you gonna say?
If I can, I want, one thing I want to say is, John Thompson, Brother Cliff Robinson, Brother Bozeman, we have to make sure that we maintain the dignity that those brothers had during their lifetimes, and as far as their careers were concerned, and as far as them being able to truly be part and parcel of the community. And I think that's one of the things that we have to really investigate, is why doesn't the monies that we make as athletes and entertainers circulate in our communities more than they have in the past? And that has to be clearly defined going forward with these owners, that if you want to really do something, you have to start doing some work with your payroll being handled by Black banks, some financial advisors who are Black in your organizations. Different ways, I believe right now, if brothers stand up, I think sisters will follow our lead. And if sisters happen to pull the plug on energy out of these major cities, it'll be a problem for America.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I think with all of the activism that's been going on now, it's the time for us to coalesce all of those things. Everything that you just talked about, Brother Hodges, is that all of those things should be coalesced right now, so that whatever we are trying to accomplish, we can use that power right now of ultimately what the oppressor always hangs his hat on is money, right? So if we cripple that money, that cripples the oppression. So I 100% agree with everything you said, Brother Powell. I want to bring you in. Tell us your thoughts on what you see today and what you experienced at the time you were in the game, as it relates to the having a voice for your community.
Yeah, I'm just a big advocate on speaking up in general, because as it relates to like my career, me being one of those guys who, especially from an NBA standpoint, always being a role player, and speaking up for guys like myself and being in certain positions often, and the things that we faced, whether it was in the locker room or on the court. And that same thing goes for off the court, and understanding that each one of us do matter, no different than anybody else. And that once we step out of our professions, that when we go home and when we're in our communities, that we are no different than anyone else. And that's why, I think it's extremely important to have a voice, share your voice, and make sure that you are heard in some way, shape, or form. And again, even now with what's going on, expressing to people that you can be heard in different ways. You don't have to just protest, right? You can share a post, you can have a conversation, you can bring people together that normally wouldn't be together in certain times. So I think all of that is very important in how we create change and move forward, as well as being stand-up individuals and showing what we do, not just talking, but showing what we do each and every day in the community.
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the things that we always talk about here on Black Man Lab is building leaders, right? And being a leader doesn't have to just mean you're leading a protest, or you're a leader in politics, or you're a leader in sports. It's about the integrity of what you do on a day-to-day basis, people's willingness to hear your voice, and willingness to follow your lead if need be, right? It tells your mind. Put out there to bring about change. Thank you for that, Brother Powell. Joe, you want to jump back in here, man?
Yeah. So, interestingly enough, you guys have broached a couple of topics, and I don't want to talk the details of economics, but I do want to use this platform to let's talk about it, because you guys kind of touched upon it. But you have a big form of people out here. All right. And I'm going to speak for the people right now. And they're saying, hey, you guys, you have this platform. You have all this money, man. Y'all should be doing this, okay? But what I want to hear is I want to hear y'all side of it. What are the economics of standing up? You know, I look at Muhammad Ali, who was taken out in the prime of his career, still came back and got championship multiple times. But, you know, that has been a recurring theme with us, that is the punitive action with our athletes when we stand up, when we say something that, you know, like you all just said, that's how they get to us. That's their language, is money. So, I mean, let's start with you, Chubb, because you were there with Kaepernick. What are, you know, how difficult is it to make that stand when you know that there's economics that are on the line, that you might be punished, you might be let go, et cetera? What's that look like?
Right. I think Tony said it the best with one of his first answers is you gotta realize it's bigger than yourself, right? So that's what Cap did. He realized this is way bigger than just Kaepernick. And obviously you saw the financial ramifications for him. He's a quarterback, just was a runner-up in the Super Bowl after 1 year of starting, and probably left $50 to $75 million of contract. You know, so you got to think of those ramifications. And then you take a player like me, who's a role player, and you know, I've never made $1 million of salary in a given year, right? So that sacrifice can't stretch as long for me as it can for other players, and you have to weigh those out. You know, some guys are coming from areas where they're the breadwinner for their cousins, their brothers, sisters, and their parents, right? And taking care of that and those financial burdens that are on them. So, and that's no excuse, right? Like I said, it has to be bigger than yourself, but that's just for people out there knowing that's what it goes through, especially for football players. Your first 4 years, you're making, you know, 500, 600, 800, you know, maybe $1 million on your fourth year. And that's if you make it that far. So a lot of that goes into play with the economics of things. So just for people who don't know, and you take 50% off for taxes and fees and all that other stuff. So you got to think about that as well.
Nacho, that's the exact transparency I wanted, man, honestly, because a lot of, you know, Sunday armchair quarterbacks saying, well, hey, you know, Chubb should be doing this, Chubb should be doing that. Chubb, you use your own money to get this foundation going and keep up and running. And it's like the stand that you all take can be in different ways. And I just wanted our listeners to hear that is like Tony said earlier, like you said, man, that comes at a cost. That comes at a cost. Tony, did you want to weigh in on that? Because I know you're dealing with that right now with what's going on in the NBA.
Yeah, it's you know, the one thing that that did occur, it put the institutional, the institutions put themselves in their own box, because they start trying to provide what they thought we needed to hear about, we want to go out, you know, these Black communities want to, like, ho. This is no longer my burden to teach you Black history. This is not my burden to you know, educate you on what should be American history. I said, so no, I will not provide you a Black list. I said, what you will do is go out and you know, get some culture, do the research, and if you want to populate a list of the cities we work in, of the Black businesses, of the, you know, the Black history spots, the food spots, I said, I might overlook them to, you know, for that, but it's no longer my burden. I'm not going to teach you. And, you know, there's a lot of friction going on right now with the people I work with, because, you know, it was one I respect, because he made a statement. He said, well, you know, I didn't know when Kaepernick didn't kneel. I thought he didn't like Black people. I mean, he didn't like white people. And I said, that's your reality. I said, so if we kneel for the national anthem, if you don't kneel, you represent that you don't like Black people? Oh no, you know, the flag, the military, you know, I have family that's police officers. And I said, that's not what I asked you. I said, what makes you think that I'm willing to stand up for you if you don't want to stand up for me? I said, and this is not so much about me, it's for the people who don't have a voice, and what they see And the one thing that helps with everything, like Chubb said, is having a unified front. People who don't have the greater visibility don't have the impact like those people. The ones that have the greater visibility, they have more of an impact for people to follow, because some of them love being out front. For me, I prefer working behind the curtain. You know, some people like to be out front. Well, if you're going to be out front, you need a unified front, because when you go up that hill, if you look back and no one's with you, you're baseless, you're powerless, and you don't have much of an impact on making change. So one thing that they're trying to do over here is they're trying to go out and form, you know, like a Black library to do this, to see where the businesses are, to do this. But the only thing that's going to make that go is that the players have to keep their foot on them. They can't let up, because they were going to shut this bitch down over here. And they were not playing. They were not playing. They were going to shut it down. And although the NBA was at the forefront, I want to be out front, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, they said, no, we need more. We need to see it. It's one thing to talk action, and there's one thing to take action. So, you know, it's going to take us staying unified to say, hey, you're not doing what you projected and what you proposed. And I got to give you more ideas to make you do more. And it's just going to take us wanting to do more. And that's just the bottom line. We got to stay united and do more ourselves to make them do more and continue to hold them accountable, because they could say whatever for public, public support. But if they don't do it, it still falls back on us. Like, well, you all got comfortable again. And that could very well happen if we continue to get lax on what we're trying to accomplish.
Absolutely. And it's interesting that in this time that we're experiencing, how often, and Tony, you touched on this a little bit, but how often do we have that from white folks, that they say, oh, I didn't know, or tell me about the racism piece, No, that's your burden to bear.
That's right.
That's your burden to bear. We're the ones experiencing it. You need to do your research, and you need to learn, right, as to why institutional racism and white supremacy is the underlying problem of all that we are in America. And I'll say that, stand on that all day long. That is the one thing in this country that is the underlying evil that keeps us from being as great as this country could possibly be.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
Hey, Marty,
yeah.
Hey, fellas, I got to jump off because I got a work meeting, but I'm glad I was able to at least get on and finally make a call, and I'm going to do my best to make your next one. But it's been a pleasure talking with everyone, man, and I look forward to us being able to chop it up, in the future and share ideas, man, because it takes a village, and only y'all one funny little quick note. So, we decided to walk in unity to show our support for some of the social injustice things that are going on. And, we're walking and one of the white guys had I think they just slipped up. They weren't thinking because, of course you got to make them comfortable because that's when they say stupid shit. So, we're walking in all black, and he said, God, this black is sure does make it hot out here. And I told him, I said, yeah, try wearing this all your life. And, everybody just went silent. 'Cause I was like in the third row, queued up, and they were like, oh shit. Then I started laughing. I was like, yeah, think about that, but you just think about it. You wearing black clothes and it's hot. I got a black skin. It's been hot all my life.
Yeah.
So, it's funny.
It ain't going nowhere, right?
No, shit ain't going.
It ain't going nowhere.
It ain't going nowhere, man. But dude, I'm glad I got an opportunity to talk with everyone. And, I hope I shared a little insight, man. And I know I sure did gain a lot too. So, I look forward to the next call.
Absolutely, brother. And
Okay.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, Mawu. I'll talk to y'all later. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, brother.
Okay.
Call him straight, man. Call him straight.
Hey, man, we call him as we see him.
I know. All right, brother. Appreciate you,
okay.
man.
All right. Yo.
Man, so we can move it back around. Brother Powell, man. Same thing to you. What do you see, right now?
I just hope that we can stay consistent, you know what I mean, and really continue to mash the gas on the things that we want or the expectations, having things in place, that we want to see get done. That's been like the biggest thing. I've been very active for quite some time, and I think a lot of times in a lot of these moments that we do seem to fall back or get comfortable. And I think that's what hurts us the most, and I know everybody has ideas on how, what, and where they think things should go or what ideas should be out there. And I get that. But if we're not united and if we're not consistent, then we'll continue to keep going down these same paths. So, I just again, with my word every day, no matter what my platform is or where I'm at, I just continue to remind people to keep mashing the gas. Consistency is key. That's a big part of creating change. And not only that, be in unison. I think at the beginning of the George Floyd protest, when all that was going on, and being here in Atlanta, and it's like you have thousands and thousands of people out, but everybody's doing their own thing. You got some peaceful protesting, you got some, who are angry and they're protesting in a different manner. You got some who are walking, you got some staying put. And I just hope that we can be more together in what we want to do. Interesting, just like with all of the other things going on, I played at the Clippers when Donald Sterling was, the owner. You know what I mean? And being at some of those events and some of the things he would say when he had the mic, was just very interesting, to say the least, that somebody could be that outspoken on some of the things that they would say and how they would address, us as players. And I just think that, we've shown what we can do when we really want to. We just got to continue to stay the course on all of these different things. And it seems like we can't catch up because it's a different body every day. It's a new situation, another day. But I always encourage people to stay the course, and just stay positive and just continue to do your part.
Absolutely. And brother Hodges, you have a unique perspective in that, what Brother Barker was talking about initially, that really laying your name out there on the line, standing for something. You did that. Mahmoud Rauf did the same thing. Obviously Kaepernick. There's been people over time that have, basically stood their ground and stood on what they knew was right. And spheres were, sacrificed because of it. Give us a little bit of that from you. What's your perspective on that?
Well, once again, I think we take the line of the great Stokely Carmichael and Kwame Ture, who taught us organization, and that we have to organize. And I think that's what Josh is speaking of. I'm a baby of the movement. And during the 60s, when we protested, it was always organized. It was always, we practiced marching before we went and did the march. So it's a different energy, where now it's almost our emotions are making us react in a certain kind of way, depending on where we are in the strata of our society. Whether, like you say, the brothers at the top have a position, the brothers at the bottom have a position. And once again, the suffering of our people is what's at the center of it. In that unification of us is something that we've never had before. So to actually know what it would be like to have a dinner in freedom, to watch a movie in freedom. We don't know what the finish line is. We don't know. We never have experienced it. So what I consider it being is that we're building and we're challenged to build a whole new paradigm for ourselves in the world, because that's what we've done in the past. That's our DNA. So it shouldn't be frightening to us. So when I ask my brothers in the NBA, you know, if we pull the plug, are we afraid to see what that new paradigm will look like? Are we afraid to see if it's something that we could construct ourselves, because we have the most intelligent person on the face of the earth, who's our mothers, our woman, and that the fact that they're able to make anything come into existence with 85% of the talent, I'm sure they would be able to put a league together for us, as well as get us the infrastructure, as well as put together the scheduling and everything they do for everybody else. So for me, it's right there in front of us. I feel like, brothers, in every victory, we're on the cusp of a victory, of a redemption of a people. That's why it's so agitating. That's why it's so confusing. That's why it's so chaotic, is because the deliverance of a people is being seen live and in color. Our great poet, Gil Scott-Heron, said it wouldn't be televised, but he was vibrating on that talent, on that time when it was ABC, NBC, CBS. He wasn't vibrating on this social media. And the social media is actually a tool of freedom, but at the same time, it can be a mechanism of enslavement if not used properly. So when we say that we're falling back and being, you know, we know as athletes, momentum is a hard thing to keep. And once you lose the momentum, it's going to be hard to get back. So while we have this momentum, whatever area and vein of life we're in, we got to keep the pressure on, because white supremacy racism is insidious. It's in every part of the society. So wherever you at, you got to speak truth to that power where you at and let people know that, hey, you with the collective, you're not by yourself.
Man, you just said a mouthful there, brother. I was about to start clapping.
That was powerful. Well, we appreciate that, Brother Hodges. Brother Maui wanted to say something. I'm not sure. Maui, are you there? We're gonna come back to him in a couple, but we had a question from one of our listeners. The question from YouTube was, what's the financial impact to the actual team? You know, they want to know how to literally hit them in the pockets, and they directed it at Chubb. So we'd like Brandon, if you could weigh in on that for me.
Yeah. So the NFL makes, or the teams make money based off of the revenue. So the split is 49% of the NFL revenue goes to players, and that's the salary cap, and that's what they spend the contract money on. And then the other 51% goes to the owners, and that's what they pocket. And so that revenue comes from TV contracts, from every time you buy a jersey, every time you buy any paraphernalia with NFL team logo on it, or any of their merchandise. And so to hit them in the pockets, you got to think a lot of these owners, their teams are valued at, $3 to $5 billion. Take, for example, the Panthers, who just got a new owner 2 years ago, who bought the team for, I think, $2 to $3 billion. Right. In 1996 or 1993, whenever the Panthers became a franchise, I think it probably only took like $200 million to own the Panthers, right? And then he just bought it for $3 billion. And so I say that to say a lot of these owners are leveraging up on their buys. So a lot of these teams are now bought with a lot of debt and a lot of notes, meaning that, I'm buying on the line of credit. I don't really have the actual $3 billion of cash put into the team. And I say that to say it's important. So if they default on these credit notes, or they default on these lines by not getting this revenue and a steady stream of income, that's how, to your question, how do you hit them in the pockets? So if you think about what the NBA, the reason they forced this bubble, and a real reason they needed this bubble to happen, is a lot of these owners, like the Houston Rockets owner, Tillman Fertitta, who all his money is in restaurants, hotels, all these things that are getting hit by the pandemic, he's not liquid anymore. So he has to have this money, or else he's defaulting on these $200 million loans and $300 million lines of credit.
Go ahead, brother. No, go ahead.
To answer your question, how do you hit him in the pockets? That's literally the economic structure of it. So take from that what you want, but it's all about the revenue that the team is actually making.
I love it. Hey, man, that's a breakdown right there, brother.
No, I appreciate it.
Mauli, did you want to say something, brother?
Man, I'm just so thankful. I wanted to just jump in for a second, man, and really just turn to Brother Hodges, man. I don't know that he knows the impact that he's had on so many of us as, for me, a pioneer in terms of taking the positions that he took. And I don't know if he has a book out about that journey, what brought him into consciousness and moving in the way that he was moving. It was in being growing up in Chicago, being a Chicago Bull fan. I just knew, man, this is one of the greatest shooters ever to be in the NBA. But his consciousness was at a level that I was like, man, this dude moving and just different from everybody else. So I'm just wondering, what books would you recommend? Do you have a book that you've written about this journey? I just love to hear for our own personal development so that we might continue to evolve. Brother Hyde?
Brother, my book I have a book out. It's called, can you hear me?
Yeah, well, I can hear you now.
We want to make sure we understand.
Yeah. Yes, sir. My book is Long Shot, Struggles and Triumphs of NBA Freedom Fighting. Like me, when I look at books that help me develop, I always think about the message to the Black man. I think about, the Land of the Nile Valley by Dr. King. They came before Columbus, by Dr. Ivan Van Sertima. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, the ISIS papers, I think is something that everybody needs to check out. And as far as the color conflict is concerned, but like you said, brother, for us right now, it's just to be able to know who we are. And I feel so blessed that I grew up during a period of time where Black power was us loving one another more than we loved ourselves. And I think that's where, for me, like I said, I feel the energy of a championship coming. Now it's just a matter of us keeping our nose to the grindstone, and that, consistency is always in work, and the work that you put into it. People talk about my jump shot, but that was something that we grinded on year after year after year after year. And before you know it, like Tony was talking about legacies, I think legacies are something that you work, and your work is the historical point of it is, when people look at it and see that it's something that they may want to aspire to, something that may inspire them. So for us right now, the momentum that we speak of is going out day to day and knowing that this is something that is coming into fruition, and what is your portion to play in it. So everybody has a part to play in it, but more importantly, we got to make sure that we're giving our children that information that's viable for them to see what their future potential is, and helping them find that passion early in life, so it's something that they can vibrate on and become excellent at. So, brother, I appreciate y'all for even giving out this type of venue for us, because it's one of those things where we have to prove to the sisterhood that we're valiant cats, that we're capable of being, being who we're supposed to be. And right now, we're at that position where, the brothers in the NBA have taken a strong soldier type position. Now, I think the sisters can support us in a way where we're going to start to see unity. I really feel it, man. Seriously, before this year is out, I think we're going to see some serious stuff happen for our people that's never happened before.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Appreciate that, Brother Hodges. Indeed.
No doubt.
Ashe.
Hey, one thing I want to do is we're getting a little close to winding down here, so I don't want to miss this opportunity. Brother Hodges just told us a lot about his book. And Brother Hodges, what we're going to do, we're going to get, if you get that information to Marty and Molly, we're going to make sure we promote that on our website and on our social media, brother, because that sounds like some powerful stuff we need to ensure that we're generating. So I want to take that same energy over to Josh and Brandon. And Josh, let's start with you, man. What is it? I know you got the 21 Reasons to Give. I know you're involved with Gary Next Level. Like, what is it that you're doing? How are you using your platform, brother? And how can we support you? And how can our listeners support you?
I think the biggest thing for me is just showing up for people and showing love. I don't make it about me at all. And I think a lot of times when you, step out into your communities or anything that you're doing, just showing people that you genuinely care letting them know that you're genuine, where you're coming from, and that it's not just a one-time thing, because I do know that during these times, there have been many people that have stepped out once, maybe twice, and then that's it. But just showing on a consistent basis by actions like, hey, I'm here, I'm here to serve in any way that you need for me to serve. And also continuing to encourage people how important it is to show up each and every day, no matter what that looks like. So just a combination of those things. And I'm inspired by so many people too, because there's also, all ages and races and everything that have been showing up and showing out, and I think that that's important as we continue to move forward. And brother Hodges, salute. I was with Craig for a couple of years, and me and him had an amazing connection. So I do want to take the time, brother, to tell you, man, I love you, man. You're a very big inspiration to me. All the conversations we had aside from working out, and you know how we rock. So I appreciate you, brother, because I know you wouldn't rock with me like that unless you felt I was on the same vibe. So
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good to see you, brother.
You too.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Yeah, man, tell us a little bit about the foundation, man, that you've been almost 5 years into this now.
Right. So like I told earlier, we have a foundation that works on education, mentorship, and health and wellness. And I think those are 3 systemic pillars, right? I think a lot of things that we can change is our community is based off of the system that we raise our children and raise our youth in, and how we cultivate them. Because like I said, they're going to be in our seats in 5, 10, 15 years from now. They're going to be making these decisions and really leading the next generation. So being able to, get kids educated and give them a choice. Everybody has a choice whether they want to do right or wrong, but at least giving them the resources to be their best and to reach the next level of education or career employment and other things, but also being a mentor for them, being a father figure, being a big brother, being a idol, a role model, whatever it may be. And like Josh has alluded to, showing that you care. And we do that because we have a deep spot for these kids, and we see ourselves when we look at these kids, and vice versa. They see us, or they see themselves when they look at us. So being genuine, knowing that, Brandon's here at my entrepreneurship class on a Tuesday in East Point. He could be doing anything in the world. That shows a kid. That means a lot, And so we do a lot of that stuff. And the way people can help us and support us is by going to our website, chubbfoundation.com/donate. And all that money is going into the community. And like Joe alluded to earlier, talking about economics, I put up my own money, and I don't take a salary. We don't take a salary from this. All this goes straight to the kids, man. And just using our platform to be literally a funnel to our communities, and to help not rebuild the system, but uplift the system and continue to keep it strong.
Salute, man. Salute. I appreciate that, Chubb, Hodges, and Josh, and Tony, man. I know all you guys are pouring into this with your own money, your own resources, and the legacy that you created. And I applaud you, and I thank you for being transparent with that, so our listeners can see, hey, you're just not a Sunday or a basketball player. You guys have poured into the communities and acted in just manners for years and years. And I appreciate you all manifesting what that looks like, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And, one of the things that's some commonality in what all 3 of you guys have been talking about is, those that are coming behind us, right? The kids, our kids, right? And putting them in a position so that what today looks like is totally different for them, right? Brother Craig, you touched on, you're looking at, man, I can't wait to see what this looks like, right? You think that we're on the precipice of something incredible. And I agree with you. I agree. I think that this energy that's there right now, if we're able to harness it, I don't think we'll have that fallback, right, that we have from time to time when something is just, either hashtagging or it's just trending, that goes away, right? But I think that what we have right now is actually a change in societal mores and ideals, right? And I think that if we push hard, coalesce the right way, organize the right way, then not just the United States, but the world can change. we as a people have some incredible abilities simply because it's in our DNA. It's in our DNA because of what we've had to do for over 400 years, right? That we've had to be able to innovate, create, and do stuff on a much higher level than everybody else just to survive. With that, man, before y'all got me so fired up tonight, man. And so many good words, man. I could go on. You know, we're up against the clock. But one of the things that we always try to end with is habits, rituals, and discipline. Things that you all do on a daily basis that keep you focused, to keep you moving forward. And we want to be able to share that with the young folks because we know that they're the ones coming behind us. And hopefully inspire them to have some habits, rituals, and discipline moving forward and do some great things. So, Brother Josh, I'll start with you. You shared your habits, rituals, and disciplines with us before, but we want to hear them again, brother.
Well, I think again, being consistent, staying grounded, staying humble, the people that you surround yourself with, the things that you read, the things that you eat and put in your body, all of that stuff is definitely important as far as your growth and taking care of yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I think that are a lot of things that have helped me to this day as I continue on my journey and just staying the course, you know what I mean? And it's good, you know, and to be involved in groups like this and to have brothers like this. And I'm grateful for every one of you on this call and for, you know, for anybody listening. But, you know, it's just good. It's just good to have good, solid men that you can follow after, good, solid men that you can lean on. You know what I mean? If you're going through something, just good examples, you know what I'm saying? And that's very important. And that's something that we don't see. You know, we don't have a good representation of what to follow on TV. You know, and that's why I think a lot of us and a lot of our youth go to the music and this, that, and the third. But then you have this year being, you know, superhero that just went to the Angels, you know, the Black Panther, you know what I mean? Or even our other superhero, Kobe Bryant, you know, other guys some of the guys that we look up to. So I just think staying the course and having good, solid people is a part of what we do. And again, before I pass it on, grateful to everyone on this call. Again, thank you. Keep doing what you're doing and much love. And I'm here to serve anytime.
And we love having you a part of Black Man Lab. You are actually a part of Black Man Lab. We see that you and Brother Chubb are actually members of Black Man Labs because you all have been so dedicated. Appreciate you, man.
Yes,
Brother Chubb, how about you? Habits, rituals, and discipline.
Yeah, so habits, I would say a habit I have, and I try to make sure I do it every day in some type of form, is be a blessing to somebody. And when I say a blessing, it doesn't have to be a physical thing or a monetary thing, but, you know, saying hi to people and just, you know, manners, thank you, you know, asking nicely, just being a good person. I think that's a great habit to have. One, because you just never know who you're going to come across or what you're going to run into, but also that follows you throughout your life, right? And that interaction might change, you know, decide how somebody makes a decision on you later in life and vice versa. So that's a great habit to have. I would say a ritual is always, you know, trying to better myself personally every day. So whether that's through, you know, fitness and health and wellness and working out and what I put in my body or what I put in my mind. So if I, you know, read something or learn something or, you know, get spiritual and digest the word of God or whatever that may be, just working on myself is a great ritual to have. And then discipline is just trying to stay, keep my name clean, right? So integrity, staying true to my word, staying loyal, you know, being those things, those intangibles that are associated with your name. I think it takes discipline to not, you know, betray somebody or to take the easy way out and keep something from somebody or not tell the whole truth or to try to finesse somebody or whatever it may be. So being able to stay, keep your name clean in that fashion and have good credit on your name, I think are my three things.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you again.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Brother Hodges, habits, rituals, and disciplines.
Well, you know, we were just speaking about this next generation, man. And for me, my baby boy that's 8 years old, man, just to see, the reading and writing habits that he watches me and to see how he's picked it up and taken it to another level, man, is something that I know is reason for me to know that something great is coming in this next generation. It's just a matter of how we going to hand off the baton. Are we going to hand off the baton in a disciplined manner? So for me, it's always first thing knowing is thanking the Lord every morning, and thanking the Lord before we go to sleep, and knowing that in the midst of that, when you wake up, whatever ideas you have on your mind, I try to write them down right away because I love to write. And out of that has come a lot of good product as far as, ideas on organization. This morning got up writing about organizing our athletes and entertainers, man. So I think it's those type of things that as you get older, you start to see, and I'm 60 years old. So now I see, what works for me in my life on a daily basis and to keep me, like my man Josh said, to keep you humble, to keep you knowing that who you are and who you work for and the like, man. So I just ask everybody out there, continue to do your research, look into whatever it is, like Josh said, that you put into your system, know what it works for and know what the drawbacks are. Don't be compliant to the wave of what's in. Study it and see what's good for you and your family, man. And right now, it's our time. And just know that it's our time and let's start to act as though we're in the mode of victory as opposed to one of continued struggle. And I think much of what we have to do is change the collective verbiage that we got to start to speak in terms of victorious terms of, winning terms. And we had a thing when I was with the Bulls and with the Lakers, when we won, and I tell people, Phil Jackson is so cool because he's a great manager of people. And when we would come together, we would have one word that when we all got together, 1, 2, 3, ring. And it's all about the ring. And that's how I feel it for us, man. It's 1, 2, 3, freedom. So
yes, sir.
We right there at it, man. So I want to thank you, brothers, for having me on, man. Love y'all. Continued success. And whenever y'all want to chop it up again, I'm around, man. Y'all got the info.
Thank you.
And we definitely will have you back on, and we so appreciate you. And brothers, we're over time now, so we need to go ahead and close out as we do in our traditional way. I'm gonna bring Brother Mowley back in so he can close us out in our traditional way. But before he does that, I want to reiterate with you, Brother Brandon, you, Brother Craig, and Brother Josh. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences. Thank you so much for being insightful, and thank you so much for being in this struggle, being committed to it, so that we can get to that freedom ring. That's what we're gonna call it, Brother Craig, the freedom ring. All right. So, Brother Mowley.
Yeah, just real. So every time we're together, we close out with "I'm a link in this chain." It was a ritual given to us by one of our queen mothers. Her name is Injiri Alghani. She's an ancestor now. But what we are saying is that we know that this chain that connects us, that we're all connected together, that we're each links in it, and that I won't break. I won't break because they've offered me money to betray my people, to collaborate against my people. I won't break. I won't break because they've taken away my money or my salary because I stood with my people. And so the beauty of seeing Brother Craig and then to see Brother Chubb and Josh, you're seeing these different generations and the links in this chain have not broken. And that because Brother Hodge has stood strong and others before him have stood strong, they've set an example for us all to stand strong, whether we athletes or teachers or business people, whatever we are, we're not going to break. So if you would link up, we link it up, and we say you can take yourself off of mute so we can do it together. I am a link in this chain.
I am a link in this chain.
And it won't break here.
And it won't break here.
I am a link in this chain.
I am a link in this chain.
And it won't break here.
And it won't break here.
We are links in this chain.
We are
links
links in this chain.
And we won't break here.
And we won't break here.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Thank you, brothers. Much love.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. And
Guys,
Brother Hodges, when we can, man, when we get back together in person, man, we want you to be there as well, bro.
Indeed.
All right.
Take care, brothers.
I'm with it.
All right.
Peace.